Good morning. This is Cody Hendricks again, and we're going to be taking a look at some of the new things you can do with Canvas quizzes. As you can see, we have an agenda right here. We want to see how to get to the quiz banks themselves, how we can choose a bank, adding questions, and some of the new kind of question types that you can use inside Canvas, and how you can easily manipulate them to do some really cool things. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to go ahead and switch to Canvas for that. As you can see, I'm here inside my item banks area already. It has the cute little piggy up here in the top left corner, but we're going to return out of that and get back inside. So I'm going to choose return, and it takes me to an existing quiz. So again, you can tell it's one of the new quizzes because it has that cute little spaceship icon. And I can go over here if I can go to my class. So I click on my course, I go down to assignments, and I can pick any of those existing quizzes that exist inside here. It has that cute filled in green, in this case, icon for string quiz, like that's the one I was working with. It takes me right inside here to the quiz. And then to get to the banks again, I go up here to the three dots. And in three dots, I go to manage item banks. And again, when we're managing item banks, that's how we're going to be doing manipulation, doing the cool stuff so we can actually work with this. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go to the Java I/O section. This is a brand new bank I just made. As you can see, it has 0 total questions, no stimuli and stuff like that. That'd be a great thing to play with some more. Right now, it's not what we're worried about, though. So I click on the I/O and I want to add a question. As you can see, there's no questions in this bank yet. And so we're going to make the first kind of question. We're going to be working with a hotspot. So I click on this, I click new. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of questions. And so I can choose whichever kind I want to make right here. And the hotspot question is where I can actually make something happen where I use an existing image and I can have students click on the appropriate things. And one of the really amazing things with this is you can use that as a framework for doing lots of different questions. So you can have the same image of a scientific diagram or something like that. And you're like, oh, click on this thing. Oh, click on this thing. Select this thing. And you can have stuff happen based on that. So we'll go ahead and make that work. So we're going to go ahead and choose right here. And we're going to give it a title. And this is Java I/O. Save. Just a quick little title. And we're going to go ahead and drag the item in. So I'm going to hit Browse. I have a whole bunch of different pictures inside here. So I'm going to go to my Documents folder. And I'm not in Cahoots right now, or CTech. I'm going to go into my Code Screenshots folder right here. And inside my Code Screenshot folder, I have a Java folder. And I have an input validation, my serial save. So I'm going to grab that serial save one. That's what I'm working with. As you can see, I've got my image right here. It loads it inside the section. And I have a couple different options. So I have the STEM section right here is where I actually ask, what am I going to be doing about this question? And then I have a hotspot shape that I want to do, either a square, a circle, or I can collect a polygon attached to this so I can have it on a certain range of space so I can click on a different specific thing. And we'll take a look at those different things as we go through that. I use the square for most of mine so I can have that happen. And so we want to identify the certain piece of this question. So I'm going to just choose a quick question. So I have the question right here. I just wrote the question. It's like identify the resources of the try-catch block. And so that's a thing that's specific to the Java try-catch block. And so I'm adding that in there right now. And so for the resources section, it's this section right here inside the parens. So those are those parameters that go with that. So I'm going to use a square section for that. And all I have to do is just click and drag over this. As you can see, I have that lovely little blue highlighted section. So anything that's clicked inside there is going to count for full points. Great. Wonderful. That's the easiest way to do that. I can also go right here and choose an oval. And I can have that so it's a thing. Now, the oval thing I don't like as much because you can't move it around. And that's not quite as pretty. The other option we have is the polygon. And so the polygon, you click, you drag, you click again. Make sure you don't right click. And you click again. And when you're done, you double click and that closes the polygon. So you can have a more custom shape like that. I, however, like the square rectangle structure a lot better because it makes it really easy just to grab that section. So I have that right there. I have the selection right there, and I can do this with that. You have options. You can show the on-screen calculator. I'm not worrying with that right now. You can align to outcomes. So if you actually have some outcomes for your structure, like what stands and standards or everywhere else on the planet, these objectives and standards you're working with, you can align that to your interior structure of that, and you can do that right there. You can also add tags to that, like I mentioned earlier. So I can add a tag to this, and this is, say, resources. No. So resource, we'll try this try catch. And so now I have that try catch as a tag that I can use to search for or work within later on, and so I can find other questions with that. So I have that right there. Once I've got that section set up where I have the title, the question stem, the actual selected thing I need to click on to have that happen, and any tags that I want to add to that, I just go ahead and hit done. Boom. There's my question. Now, here's where we get to the amazing thing. I'm going to choose the duplicate again. I have a brand new question. Again, I'm going to select the existing item bank. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to choose the existing bank we're just working with right now for Java I/O. Keep a copy in this because I don't want to delete my existing one, and then choose add. Now I have the second one. Now it doesn't really matter which one I'm working with, but I'm going to click this top one because I like that as it makes it really easy to keep track of it, and edit it. And instead of on here, it's still the same thing of Java I/O save, but instead of identifying the resources section, identify what happens if an error is thrown. So now I want them to identify what happens if there's an error is thrown. So as you can see right now, I already have an existing hotspot, but I don't want that to be occurred. So I'm going to grab that right here. And as I select that new section, the existing hotspot goes away. And they now have this. So this is what would happen if the error is thrown. It's going to execute that line of code. And so if they click anywhere inside that space, it automatically works. Boom, we're good to go. Go ahead and hit done. And I've got another question right here, so it's still an I/O save. And so I have that ability so I can use that same resource and create a whole bunch of different questions asking different things about it. And I can use different resources from that right there, and it pulls it all right in so I can have that resource available. Let's go ahead and do another question. And so the other question we want to take a look at was the idea of categorization. And so categorization, this is where we can put different categories on here. And so we'll do Java I/O. Categories, again for a title. And we just want to give a question like, hey, to guide the students as to what to do. So put the types in the right group. And as you can see right here, we have our category name and the answers that can go along with it. We can also add distractors, wrong answers. Now, it's really important when you're using the category style or the map style that if you have a category answer over here, that the answer does not have the same word as this one and this one. So if they have something that's both, that'd be a great thing to have as a third category because you want to make sure that you can have something in there so it's only one thing, because if you drag the wrong right word into the other side, it's not going to count as a wrong answer, and that doesn't help students learn at all. So we'll go ahead and do this, and we'll say saving and reading, and we have output, input, and I can add a new category, both, and Java import java.io.asterisk. So we have now this example right here where I have the output answer, the input answer, and the both answer. And so I can add more categories in there. I can also add more distractors, just adds a new thing. And boom, enter. And so I have that right there. And I have that try catch. This doesn't fit within the try catch. Let me get rid of that tag on that. And so I have this right here. I've got my answers on this. I have a category. I have an answer. I have the one for both. I go ahead and I hit done again. And I can go ahead and click on this. And as you can see, that's what it's going to look like. And the students have to drag them into the right spot. If I wanted to just edit this, I can drag things around, movement. So I can take that input and move it to another thing. So if I go to input, edit this, I can change new values on this. I have to retype them myself, but that's no big deal. But I have that information. I can put that right there. Now, the garbage distractor, not really helpful. So we'll go ahead and put system.out.println, something that clearly doesn't belong to that if you're working with Java. So we've got some basic stuff right there. So we have the information we can work within that, and so we can have that happening for that. And boom, we're good to go. Another thing we can do in that, we make another new question. And we can still do our multiple choice and multiple answers. A multiple answer structure, you just put a checkbox right here to show which one's the correct kind. I always like the shuffle choices. It makes life a lot nicer. You can have as many options as you like. We'll go ahead and cancel out of that because we don't want that one. Multiple choice works the same. Essay questions, formula questions. Now, matching is a great thing. You can use this to do some really cool stuff. As you can see, we have an existing thing right here. And if you have any other distractors, you just add the distractor. You add more answer pairs as you go along with that. And again, shuffle them. Make sure that students don't memorize what's going on for that. You can do some really cool stuff with that. And some great things. And it's usually the matching one right here. You can do some great things for the idea of how to put things in the right process, that kind of stuff. So like first step, second step, third step. And you can have the answer be what they're doing for all those pieces. Great things right there. Go ahead and hit cancel, make one new one, And we have also ordering. And this is where you can do the really easy one. What's the right order? And you can also put a label on the top and the bottom. So you can say start and finish, or like you even choose midpoint levels, and they can put the things that are inside those midpoint things in the right order. And it's a great way. The idea of using what's called a Parsons problem has a lot of recognition as how it's a great way to have students learn. And so it's a great tool you can make to have that work with that. And then because you have that bank made, I go ahead and return out of there. I can go ahead and do that string Quizlet one I was working with earlier. I can go to that item bank right here. I can add in that other question I was working with from java.io. And here's those questions I could have and add into that group if I needed to. Obviously, not what I want to do with this question, but just to show what it looks like, we'll go ahead and we'll add all of them to it. Boom, they're all inside there now. As you can see, it has questions 4 through 6 that are coming out of that bank, string bank. And 1 through 3 is all the questions from IO. And if I take a look at this right here, close this screen, I can preview the test. We can see what it's going to look like for students. And so we have the example. It looks a lot like a regular paper test. We can pin a question so students can keep track of what they need to actually look at. And if we go over here, as you can see, I've got to put the answers in the right group. I can just drag this and I can put it the right thing. I can put them in as many as I want. I can leave things out there and it'll grade the answers based on that. I can answer this right here. I can click anywhere on the screen. You can see that it has a cute little target icon. And so if I get it right and if I get it wrong, so I have this one, I have it right, that one I have it wrong. We'll go ahead and submit this and we'll see the results of this. Oh, you haven't answered this. You sure you want to submit? Yes, I do. It auto grades it for us. Took us 36 seconds to make that happen. I left those blanks so there's no answer. Oh, both. Import Java. Oh, that part's correct, but those are wrong right there. That one's right. Yay. No answer. Oh, selected answer is incorrect because of my settings on that. That's how it works. Selected answer incorrect. Okay, so we have what happens when it's a wrong answer, and so we can see how that works. Exit the preview. We can go back into that. I don't want that quiz to happen with those Java IO sections because that's not about strings. So remove that item. It's out of there. Again, now I'm randomly pulling 3 questions from the bank, 2 questions each. Great stuff we can do and do some really wonderful stuff. So again, let's go take a look at what we just did. We made some new Canvas quizzes. We were able to get to the Canvas quiz banks. We made a bank, we selected a bank. We added questions. We learned how to do hotspot questions, how to duplicate questions, how to do matching and categories, as well as how to do ordering. These are some great options you can do to make some really fun questions. Again, if you have more questions or want to have more practice with this, talk with me or talk to your ed tech. They can help you out and do some amazing things. Thanks. Have a great day.